Okay, so let's talk about ratios and proportions. Here's my first example. 1/3 is it equal to 3 divided by 9? I'm going to look for relationships. I know that 3 times 3 equals 9. Does 1 times 3 equal 3? Yes, that is a proportion. I know that 3 times 5 is 15. Is 2 times 5 9? No, not proportional. What about this one? 4 times 3 is 12. Is 6 times 3 18? Yes. And we could go in the reverse. We could say 12 divided by 3 is 4, so 18 divided by 3 is 6. They're inverses, right? All right, your turn. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me if that is a proportion. All right, you guys are looking good. That is not a proportion. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 5 divided by 5 is not 3. This is not a proportion. Check that one out. Okay, most of you have that one correct too. 2 times 3 is 6. If you don't know that 15 times 3 is 45, let's do some number sense. What's 15 times 2? 30 plus another 15? 45. Right? That's how you can check. So this one is a proportion. What about this one? Check that one out. I should put this up here. This one was a little bit harder for you guys. Check this out though. You guys have been complaining a little bit about my number sense and how I want you to factor, right? Watch how this is a good tool. 18 is really 6 times 3. 3 is really 1 times 3. 42 is 7 times 6, and 7 is 7 times 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Are they equal? Yes, they are. See how breaking numbers down can help you? Right? See why I've been having you practice? You see that, Levi?
Yeah.
That works well, doesn't it? So instead of thinking of big numbers and going, I don't know, I don't see a relationship, 3 times nothing is 7, right? If you break the numbers down, they are equal, right? Let's see this next one. Okay, this one was a little more difficult as well. They didn't?
I checked.
Okay. Okay. All right, guys. I'm glad you're owning it. Okay.
No, you want an actual check, right?
Yeah, I have to check.
Okay, guys. Hold on. I'm not going to argue about it right now. We're trying to teach a lesson. We got to get through it, okay? All right. 5 times, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. 5 times 4 is 20. Is 12 times 4 36? A little more difficult. All right, let's move on. You guys have questions? Isn't 5 times 4 20? Then 12 times 4 must be 36, but it's not. So that's not proportional. All right, let's move on. Pencils down. I need your full attention. So my first step, I'm going to solve for this proportion. I don't know what x is, but I know if I divide it by 12, it has to be equal to 12 divided by 9. So my first step is look for simplification. Factor something out. I'm going to make 12 3 times 3. Let's move this over here. And I'm going to go this way. Arrow means we're going to go this way now. So x over 12 equals, let's rewrite it, 3 times 3 over, oops, 3 times 4 over 3 times 3. Would it work if I put 6 times 2? No, you got to think of common numbers, factors that they have in common. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now let's rewrite it. X divided by 12 equals 4 divided by 3. Now do you see a relationship? 3 times 4 is 12. So 4 times 4 has to be 16. Right? For it to be truly equal, if I multiply 3 times 4 and I have to get 12, then 4 times 4 must be 16. Let's look at my steps. Simplify my fractions if possible. Sometimes you can't simplify them. Look for relationships. Sometimes you won't find a relationship. If you can't find a relationship, you'd have to multiply by the reciprocal like we've been doing in our two-step equations, and then solve for the variable. Let me do another one for you. I'm going to simplify my fractions if possible. I don't see any factors that these two have in common. My next step, look for a relationship. I see a relationship between 6 and 12. If I multiply 6 times 2, I get 12. So for this to be truly proportional, 7 multiplied by 2, n would have to be 14. Questions? So, okay so far? All right. Try this one on your own with the steps. Okay, so if I were to simplify, I notice that, let's move this over here because I'm going to change this. 12 divided by v equals 9 and 6 both have 3 in common. 9 is 3 times 3 and 6 is 3 times 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Rewrite my proportion. I see a relationship between 3 and 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. V equals 8. Questions? Are you seeing it? Okay, let's keep going. Pencils down. Let me do this one. Simplify fractions if possible. 12 and 8 have 4 in common. So I'm going to switch this over here and say, I'm going to break these numbers up or factor them. 12 is 4 times 3. 8 is 4 times 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Rewrite my proportion. 3 divided by 2 equals x divided by 5. Look for relationships. I don't see a relationship between 2 and 5. You guys see a relationship between 2 and 5? No. I don't either. Number 3, multiply by the reciprocal. Pretend like this isn't even here. If I want to get x by itself, I want to solve for x. X is being divided by 5. To undo that division, I need to multiply by 5 over 1. If I multiply an equation by 5 over 1 and I want to keep it equal, I've got to multiply the other side by 5 over 1. Now, you can't cross-cancel between an equal sign because it'll make it unequal. But you can cancel when there's a multiplication sign here, and I'll show you why. Let me get rid of this and I'll show you why. The reason I can do what I'm going to do right now is because, let's multiply straight across. Isn't this x times 5 over 5 times 1? I'm just multiplying, right? Now let's use the commutative property. X times 5 over 1 times 5. These cancel out. That's why I can do that. You can't do it with an equal sign. I can't like cross off if I had a 2 here. I couldn't cross off 2 and 2 because I just went across an equal sign. It would make it unequal. But if I have it like this, it's all multiplication. You can't do it with adding either. If I had x plus 5 over 1 plus 5, can I cancel that? No. You can only cancel if it's factors. Okay? Multiplying is factors. Only multiplication. What about this one? I can't cancel those, but I can cancel those because it's multiplication, right? It's saying the quantity times 5 divided by 5. Okay? See the difference between all those? We'll practice that more later. I just wanted to talk about that for a second. All right, let's move on. So these cancel, and I'm left with x. X is the only thing over here now, right? X divided by 1, which is just x. And on this side, I'm just going to multiply straight across because there's nothing to cancel here either. So I get 15 divided by 2. What is 15 divided by 2? Number sense. What's 14 divided by 2? 7 plus another half? 7.5? Right? Because couldn't I say, let's do a little concept, number sense again. I'm going to take this over here. Isn't 15 over 2 14 over 2 plus 1 over 2? Isn't this 7 plus a half, which is 7.5? Right? Alrighty. Let's put it back in. Put it back in the equation. I'm going to check it. Put that in blue. Didn't we find out, though, that 12/8 is really 3/2? So 3 divided by 2 should equal 7.5 divided by 5. What is 3 divided by 2? Think of it the same way. 2 halves and 1 half. 1 1/2. If I put 7.5 divided by 5 in a calculator, I get 1.5. So we'll check out. You don't have to do checks on your homework. I was just showing that for right now. Okay? Let's move on. I'm going to do another one. This time there's no relationship. There's nothing to simplify. There's no relationship. So my next step is to multiply by the reciprocal. I'm going to cover it up again so you don't get confused. What can I multiply by to get rid of that 9? 9 over 1. If I multiply it by one side, I got to multiply it by the other side. When I do that, my 9's go away, and I can multiply straight across. 9 times 9 is 81 over 11 equals A. And we're going to say you can leave them in fraction form here. What if it was 88 over 11? What would be the answer? 8. So 81 is a little bit less than 88. So what do you think the answer is? A little less than 8? So 7 point... Throw it out there. What do you think? 5?
No,
7.2. The answer is 7.3. Good job. Okay. But you can leave it just like this. You guys try this one. Okay, so I cannot simplify the fraction. I do not see a relationship, so I need to multiply by the reciprocal. When I do that, 6 divided by 6 is 1, and I'm left with m equals 36 over 5. Questions? You guys all good? Right? Now it gets a little more difficult. Pencils down. Simplify fractions if possible. Okay, I see that 4 and 10 have 2 in common. So I'm going to rewrite this as, that's not our bell. And I just lost power on my Mobi, so I'm going to have to go up to the board. Okay. 2 times 2 over 2 times 5 is equal to 5 over b. My 2's cancel, and I'm left with 2/5 equals 5 divided by see if it had a relationship? Does it have a relationship? 2 and 5, do they have a relationship? No. Well, actually, should do
Well, yeah, it's
2 times what makes 5?
1.
2.5, right? 5 times 2.5, do it in your head. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? What's 5 times 2? 10. What's 5 times a half? What's half of 5? So it should be 12.5. What's 12.5? Let's put it right here. 12.5. What's 12.5 in fraction? 12 and a half, which is 25 over 2. Let's see what happens if we're right. I'm hoping. I'm doing this on the slide. All right, so 2 over 5 equals 5 over b. So I'm going to cover it up. I would do this. Cover it up on your homework until you get used to it. I need to solve for b, but b is in the denominator, right? This is going to be a 2-step process. I want b in the numerator. I don't want b in the denominator. How could I get b in the numerator? Did I put b in the numerator? Check this out. Now I have, now I have 2b over 5 equals 5. Correct? Now I want to get rid of, forget about this side. Now I want to get rid of 2/5. I've got b in the numerator now, right? I want to get rid of 2/5. I want to isolate my variable. b is being multiplied by 2 over 5. How can I get rid of b being multiplied by 2 over 5? Just like we've been doing in our homework. 5 over 2. Multiply both sides by 5 over 2. So it's the same process as we did on the last one. You've just got to do one little thing to get b out of the denominator. Okay? So when I do that, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. All I'm left with on this side is b. All I'm left on this side is 5 times 5 is 25 divided by 2. That. And we just used number sense earlier, right? Write this example down. All right, let's try another one. Pencils down. Just watch what I do. I'm going to go with my steps still. Simplify fractions if possible. They have nothing in common. No factors in common. I cannot factor anything out. Look for relationships. Do 7 and 9 have a relationship? No, they don't. Multiply by the reciprocal. I don't want to multiply by the reciprocal because I've got x in the denominator here, right? So first I want to get x out of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by x over 1. Once I do that, x is out of the denominator, and I now have, whoops, 7 over 1 equals 9/4 times x, or you could put the x right there, but it doesn't really matter. Now how do I isolate x? Multiply by the reciprocal. 4 over 9, multiply by 4 over 9. Please don't do that. My 9 cancels, my 4 cancels. All I'm left with is x on this side. 7 times 4 is 28 divided by 9. Questions? All right, why don't you guys try one on your own? Yes, same process, right? All right, let's come back together and let me do this one. I realize that 10, write it down please. I realize that 10 and 6 have something in common, so I'm going to factor. 10 is 2 times 5. 6 is 2 times 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now I have A over A equals 5 over 3. I see no relationship between 5 and 8, so I know I've got to multiply by the reciprocal. Well, I don't want to multiply by the reciprocal because I've got A in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by A. My A cancels. And now I have, move this down a little bit. And now I have 8 equals 5/3 times A. How do I get A by itself? Multiply by the reciprocal. 3/5 on that side, 3/5 on this side. My 5 cancels, my 3 cancels, and I'm left with 24 divided by 5 equals A. Did you get it? Good job. All right, let's talk about what we did. I'll give you a second to finish copying that down. All right, let's talk about our closing thought. What did we learn today? Levi? Proportions. What are the steps? I need somebody to recite the steps for me. Philip? Think about what we did first. We looked for what?
Similarities.
Similarities, so we could factor, and then what did we do? Before multiplying by the reciprocal, we tried to find relationships between numbers, right? If we couldn't do that, then we multiplied by the reciprocal and solved for the variable. Good job. On your assignment sheet, I want you to write this. The first step would be because. Tell me what the first step would be. All right, good job today, guys.